find this photo in the resource folder. Right click on it and open with Photoshop. If you're using Windows, you should have Photoshop here. For me, for some reason, it's not appearing. That's why I'm going to choose it manually. Here's my Photoshop, and I'm going to open it. So when you open the raw photos with Photoshop, it will automatically open the Camera Raw. If you're using the latest version of Adobe Photoshop, you should have something like this. Adobe Camera Raw is just like Adobe Lightroom. You have all of the settings that you have in Lightroom. So in this lesson, we are going to cover the basics. So the first thing that we have in this list is profiles. Profile is a set of instructions that determine how the information in the photo is processed. For the most part, you're going to use Adobe Color, but if you want to work in the black and white, you can choose a black and white. If we click here, we will see more profiles. These are the favorite. If you favorite some of the profiles, they will come here. And now we have Adobe Raw profiles. These two are the ones that we just covered, Adobe Color and Adobe Monochrome. We have Adobe Landscape, that is good for the landscape photos. And we have Adobe Natural, we have Adobe Portrait. This one is very good for the portrait because it has a very nice skin tone. We have the Adobe Standard, and then we have Adobe Vivid. This is good for the landscape and also for the skin tones. So if you have a person in the landscape, this one will fit the best. Here we have the camera matching. Depending on what camera you're using, these will match the profiles that you have in your camera. They will basically mimic it. Below this line, we have the artistic one. These are more of the modern ones. I mean, they are more edgy and they've been played with a lot. So we're not going to cover this. And for this tutorial, I'm going to go with the Adobe Color. And for you also, most of the times, you will go with the Adobe Color because with this one, you will have the most control over your photo. So now I'll use this Adobe Color. I'm going to cancel this one. We'll go with this one, and then we are going to cover these settings. And then we have the white balance. White balance controls how much warm do we need our photo to be, or how much cold our photo we want to be. And also we can play with the green and the magenta. So white balance has some of the presets. We can choose from them if you want. For now, I'm going to go as shot. This will take the temperature and the tint straight from the camera. Click on it, and then we can manually add some of the warmth and some of the green. Like this is good. Make sure when you're playing with these handles to move them very slightly, because if you move them like this, it will be really hard to achieve what you want. So I'll keep this here. And then after that, we have the exposure, contrast, highlight, shadow, and whites. Exposure plays with the light. How much light do we need on our photo? Contrast, as the name says, it plays with the contrast. If we want to increase the contrast on our photo, we can just increase it like this. And then we have the highlights. These highlights will play with the white areas in the photos. We can increase them and we can decrease them like this. And then we have these shadows. As the name says, it plays with the shadows. We can make the shadows darker, or we can brighten them. And then we have the white and black. White and black, they go with the shadows and highlights. With the white, we can play with the white areas, and the black goes with the shadows. We can play with the dark areas. For now, I'm going to reset them. I'll click on the default, and I'm going to change these settings until I get something that I like with this photo. For the exposure, I'm going to increase it very little. This is good. And the contrast, I want a lot of contrast to my photo. 44 is good. And then we have the highlights. The highlights are too harsh here. I want to decrease them. So I'm going to bring down the highlights. Basically minus 100. And then we have the shadows. I think shadows also are very harsh. I'm going to brighten them a bit. And with the white and blacks, you can enhance the highlights and shadows. For the black, I will keep it like this. And for the white, I can bring it down a bit. Something like this. This is good. After this, we have the texture, clarity, and dehaze. All of these play with the clarity and how sharp our photo is. The texture will mostly affect the edge of the photo, the edge that we have. If you just focus, when you increase the texture, you will see how we improve the edges in this photo. Of course, we don't need all of this texture on this photo. I'm doing this just for demonstration. And then we have the clarity. The clarity plays with the overall clarity of the photo. If we increase it, we increase everything in the photo. And then we have the dehaze. The dehaze plays with the haze. For example, we have the haze here. I can increase it like this and it will remove the haze. And if I want to add the haze to my photo, I'll just bring this down, just like this. For now, I'm going to move this here and the texture to be +5. Clarity, let's make it +10. Okay. The last thing in this panel, we have the vibrance and saturation. This plays with the color. The vibrance plays with the vibrance of the color, how vibrant they are, and the saturation plays with the colors, how much color do we have in our photo. If I bring down the saturation, it will remove the colors from my photo, just like this. If I move it to this side, it will add more colors to my photo. So I'm going to bring down the saturation a bit, and I will increase the vibrance. I want my color to be more vibrant. Let me increase the saturation a bit. I will keep it like this. So this is all about the basic panel in the Camera Raw. I'll see you in the next lesson and we are going to cover the curves. See you there.